All right, well, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the Town Hall School Admin Building Committee to order. We got a sparse committee meeting tonight. First we'll do, the first item on the agenda is a roll call. Paul Malorani.
Here.
Jack Holloway.
Yeah.
Paul Ruggiero.
Here.
Jesse Fennell.
Just walked in.
Just walked in. And George Hooper. All right. The purpose of tonight's meeting, we're not going to approve any minutes. We're not going to take a vote. This was just to have a discussion on what will be updated for our annual town meeting that's going to be on April 30th. I've asked our OPM, who couldn't make it tonight, so he sent in Rob Tedesco and Megan Tuttle. They are going to, they have presented what's in front of you if you want to do a review. You need an agenda also, or you also?
Appreciate it.
So as you're reading, during the town meeting in the beginning, they have a section that's on reports of committees. They'll ask for the bylaw committee, the Wildwood School, the senior center, and the town hall. So I will be speaking on both of them. There won't be a presentation. It's just going to be an update.
Okay.
What I was looking for was something that just brings us to date. Paul?
This first paragraph goes into the senior center.
It's titled Town Hall, and then it talks about Senior Center.
Yeah, sixth line down to the right says the senior center building committee.
Okay.
See that?
Megan, did you hear that?
I heard that. I'm bringing up my document.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Yeah,
Actually
that's
says it twice.
Yeah, and then right below, 2 lines below that, it says senior center again.
Oh, yeah, okay, I found it.
all right. Yeah, we definitely do not want to confuse the two.
Hey, Kevin's here.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
You're getting a little ahead, George, but the 6th bullet down, the design team began preparations for developing the programming for the senior center.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. George, do you have another one?
I sure do. All right, so for the purpose of, for Kevin, for Jeff, we were just discussing, this is going to be, there's no approval of minutes, we won't be taking a vote tonight. This is to discuss the updates that'll be giving at the annual town meeting under reports of committees. This one here is for the town hall.
Also, the second bullet point, George, sorry.
Yeah.
Locations for the proposed new senior center.
So you did some cut and paste over here, Megan.
Yep.
Senior center might say town hall school admin.
So I was thinking that we make sure we have from the beginning, from our June 27th, that we authorize the expenditure from free cash for feasibility and schematic design of the town hall school admin building. Go through the first steps in the process that we had the OPM and then going through for the designer. You see it kind of all over the place on this one. And once we get to, through the designer, we'll be looking for funding for the design and construction. You see, you do have the number of meetings that we had in there. I think we've done more than the 15 meetings. I'll have to go through and count them up. But our original one, I believe we had something in October that we went through.
Over 2020.
Correct. Then we had to have proposals that needed to be in November, and then we went through the review of them all. November 20th, they were all due, and then we had our meetings on Tuesday, December 15th, Wednesday, December 16th, Thursday, December 17th, 6 o'clock, and we went through that whole process.
Yeah, I think the 15 number comes from what I have access to.
All right, what I can do is I can forward over some of this information to you.
Okay. So I just need the meeting information from pre-Pete group.
Okay. And then we can talk about the site that we chose, the scenarios, schematic design we're at now. I don't think we should be presenting any layouts of the building or anything yet, because we really haven't voted on anything. We haven't even determined the exact location. So, which will also determine the design of the building itself.
And I agree, that's gonna change before
Right.
it's finalized.
Are you showing designs in the senior center?
No,
Okay.
no, we're
Just
gonna.
so we're consistent.
Right, I mean, I may mention that we are a little farther along because we have a site layout that's going to be in place. We haven't really voted on it as far as a committee, but, I mean, we're kind of leaning more towards that way.
Yeah, I personally, I don't particularly care for the saying that one is further along than the other. Gives a different, I don't like the perception it lays out to the community. I don't see how one is so much further along than the other. We've
Right.
met the same amount of times, we've discussed the same amount of issues.
Good
I
point,
just- yeah,
good
you
point,
know,
because we're both in the feasibility stage,
Yeah.
schematic design, so.
Right.
Right.
Ultimately,
Let's
the
not give anybody
the
that.
expectation would be that both will be queued up for a fall town meeting.
Right, so both will be at the same location at that.
And if Dan is making a presentation, I would suggest to him that he not, that seems to be one of his mantras, is always saying one's ahead of the other. I would, I don't know if he's going to be a
No,
speaker or not.
you're the one that's gonna give the presentation for both, aren't you?
Right, and I truthfully, I could probably tie the two together because we have been meeting at the same times and about the same amount of, I will say, the appropriation was a little bit different. I don't know if we even want to get into the amount, but they were both voted on at the same time, so they're moving at the same time. Could I
Right.
combine the two committees together? It's one chair.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with saying what the community appropriated for each.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean, because it did, and it
Right.
gave a specific a dollar amount,
Right.
sure.
but I could tie
you
the
could tie them
two,
together.
I could tie the two together. I mean, I think that would be appropriate. And there's not gonna be an on-screen presentation, so and I can even ask the moderator at that time, if he has an issue with that, because
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate there would be a problem. You talk to Jonathan, but I think it seems like you can do both in the same, incorporate both into the same speech, so to speak.
Right,
Report,
absolutely.
rather.
And to the point of when we started, where we went through, I don't think I'm gonna dig in too deep about how many, firms had applied, and we interviewed them
No.
all.
I think the keys are, noting that, the first step in the process was hiring the OPM, P3 was brought on board, followed by solicitation for architects, and Johnson Roberts is the architect for
This-
the town school, and
Deeds and
for the,
Associates.
and kind of go through the process. 4 sites initially, was whittled down to 2, and kind of hit the high points.
Right. That was my
Broad
intent.
strokes, kinda, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And now we're just in design schematic stage,
Right.
schematic design stage for both.
Once completed, we'll make our recommendations, and then it'll get to the point, next phase will be estimating for cost of construction. And
Right.
that'll be voted on for both projects during the special fall town meeting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what, the expectation is to bring to the special town meeting the cost estimates for each project and a schematic design for each project.
Right. And we don't have a date, obviously,
No.
so that might be a question somebody might bring up, so.
Yeah, I think it remains to be determined, but it presumably would be in the fall at some point.
Right.
October, November, I mean, one of the issues from my perspective is gonna be, I think we wanna have free cash certified, so that becomes a function of, Brian Perry and the Department of Revenue. I mean, we can't control how quickly they certify free cash, but I know he typically gets his reports in, and Karen Rashis has a piece of that, but, they try to get that in soon, but we wanna have free cash available when we go to special town meeting.
Mhm. Okay. Is there anything that I may not have discussed that you think should be also talked about as far as the community update?
Did you wanna make reference to I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but essentially the size of the town school admin is roughly 42 and change, 42,000 square feet, and the senior center is 18 and change.
I can do that, but if the town hall doesn't go in the kind of location that we've been looking at, I mean, is the design gonna change? But probably not.
I mean, I don't think the square footage will necessarily
Right, because the
change.
adjacencies,
The form of the building might change, but I think the square footage.
square
is-
footage would be, yeah, that's something we could put in for both of them.
I mean, you can approximately,
Right.
it doesn't have to be exact.
Right.
Things can,
Well, and one question I would have, George, to that point, I guess, is if we're gonna, let's say potentially we're gonna say, this project is gonna be approximately X square feet, and the senior center is gonna be approximately Y square feet, does it make sense to give folks the current square footage, current town hall and the Roman house equal this many square feet, the senior center currently
That's a
equals
good
this
idea.
many square
That
feet?
is a good idea, yeah.
I mean, I hate to bring it up, but I've seen conversations about it on Facebook about like, well, how big is this building? And how does it compare to what we currently have?
So
Obviously-
existing and
Yeah.
proposed.
Right.
Without making it sound like.
This
we're
building
building
is
any kind of
significantly,
a Taj
Well,
Mahal.
not significantly smaller, but this building is smaller than the proposed building. But that also includes the facilities at the Roman House, right? So
Right.
it just gives folks sort of an idea of what they're expecting.
and that actually brings up a good point, I like that. Are you going to, explain to the people what the conditions are in the existing, facilities? Or have,
I mean, what I think would probably, to Jesse's point, would be maybe give the age of construction, when it was built.
I mean, like, there's no handicap accessibility at the
Yeah.
house, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I know, is that digging too deep? I don't know.
My thought is the intent really should be to report on,
That's, yeah,
What
it's a
we've
committee
done.
report.
certainly as we go forward, we ought to be reporting on those kind of things and making the case as to why, you know, with the age and the shortcomings of the buildings, but I'm not sure that the forum for that is necessarily this report.
Right, I don't think so, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, we also, if we're gonna go down that direction, the square footage of our own house, now we're bringing into this building departments that would typically be in a school admin building that currently are not, special education.
Consolidated.
Yeah.
School admin.
Yeah,
Oh, we have the art building, right, where,
yeah, so,
Alice and her
you don't want
team
to
are-
see, we're going from, you know, a 5,000 square foot building to a, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Megan, do you have a question?
Yeah, you know, for the
Well, I was gonna
school.
say the board that we were discussing earlier that we were developing, one of the things that we were gonna do was to provide existing conditions to show what's lacking, not to bring it up, not necessarily to bring it up in your committee report, but have that information available.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine, I just don't think
On
that if you.
display boards out in the auditorium?
Yeah,
I mean-
but I think that's fine, but I don't think that needs to be part of the report.
Hmm.
Just my personal opinion, I guess, but.
Right, no, I agree with you.
I
And to
think if
Paul's
you have
point-
boards out there, you can get a lot of opinions at the microphones,
And
a
to
lot of
Paul's,
questions.
and to Paul's point, Jesse's point, that the superintendent's is spread out, right? It's in different buildings.
Yeah.
It's not in one, it's like
Right,
the
where
old
the
Ash
arts building,
Center.
yeah,
It's in-
yeah, yeah.
So that, you know, is something that, you
Yeah,
know, it's this square
Yeah.
footage, but you have to remember that it's in multiple locations. And, you know, the optimum use of a superintendent's office and the administration is that it be together, not
And we can consolidate
separate.
the school department.
yeah, but, you know, this building committee, I mean, it's a feasibility study that we're going through. I think we've identified the reasons why, and we can continue as we go through this project. But for the report of committees, I don't know how far, we're just giving an update where we are, so.
I guess what I'm saying too is that we, all of us, I mean, need to be prepared for questions. You know, someone could say, you know, Mr. Hull, are you going to plan a debt exclusion? Or is it gonna be a bond? You're waiting for free cash.
Right.
What does that mean to the taxpayer? You know, things like, so, you know, questions are going, people are gonna
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
questions, so we need to be, should we figure out what maybe some people are gonna ask for questions?
Well, I think that.
So we're not caught off guard.
Yeah, my understanding, I'll confirm with Jonathan Eaton again, but my understanding was that he was not looking to entertain questions under reports, because typically it's just a report, you know, here's what's happening, end of story, and then they move on.
And
to
that
Article
was
3.
my point.
Okay.
I didn't want to start getting into too much of that, it would generate a lot of questions
Yeah.
on particular
Yeah.
things. I
Okay.
mean, of course, I can say people can come to our meetings, they're public, so we can go through and we'll have some
Yeah, I mean,
additional form.
so to that point, it may be worth, well, you have the stage, so to speak, noting the places where people can get information. They can certainly attend these meetings, you know, every other Wednesday. They can go online, and maybe if you have that information, and maybe even on the poster boards or somewhere near them, if we have the various places where people can go to get information and stay up to date, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
WCTV has them, we have them on our town website, under our building projects,
Right.
everything's pretty much right there.
The updates that are given at the selectmen's meetings, are they accessible? You know, as another form of,
Yeah, I think, I'll have to check with Beverly. I know, we usually include them on the, under the agenda section as the communications, yeah.
I wonder in this, you know, when you talk about the committees, do you make a broad, you know, statement of the makeup of the committees, you know, as members from the permanent building committee, selectmen, school committee, just broad.
Right,
each
not
person's name,
identifying
but
individuals
just
to
the-
repeat their
the
names over
community
again,
knows
but.
who's been, it's not just us sitting there in a room doing all this, it's, there's been community members and so forth.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I think it's also important too, not to gloss over the free cash part. I think this is a good opportunity to inject into the conversation now that free cash is gonna be a component of this project. If there's a strategic way to put that in the report and let people start to understand, they're gonna wanna hear that as opposed to thinking that the taxpayer's gonna be picking up the full nut.
And to that point, Paul, the capitalization fund as well, it's gonna,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be some
Yeah.
cash from there.
So if there's a way to put that in there, that, we need to wait, in terms of fall town meeting, we need to wait until free cash is certified, because that is gonna be a component of the funding
Right.
process, and that will go a long way, I think, to, there's a lot of people out there talking about these projects right now, but.
Absolutely, so we can say Article 15 of the June meeting, authorized expenditure of $955,000 from free cash to complete the feasibility
Yeah,
study. And then the same for the senior center.
Yeah.
That way we can touch upon that. Okay.
So, yeah, no pressure.
So who's standing up doing it? Jack? Yeah, I mean, to that point, I don't think anybody else really wants to speak on this, right? So it's just gonna be an
It's
updated.
just the report, yeah.
Right, so it's just a report. All right, so what I can do is, I mean, if we can think through a lot of this, finishing it, but I can put it all together and kind of send it out.
Yeah.
I think that works, yeah.
Yeah, that way everybody can kind of take a look at it.
Sure.
I don't want to, violate any open meeting laws, so just kind of respond back to myself with any additional suggestions.
Sure.
Makes sense, sure.
Okay.
Where's town meeting being held?
The high school,
Going back to
yeah.
Yeah, back to the,
the norm.
Yeah, so I've already met over there with the clerk, some people, for the setup of both IT department, school and the town. So it'll be our traditional setup.
Good.
The monitors will be in the front. We'll have overflow in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
I'm speaking more of the building superintendent now than the chair of this, but yeah, no, I think we'll be pretty good to go,
do you want to reference in here, how many newsletters have we done related to each of these projects? Was it 3 for each or 4 for each?
No, there's quite a few. One has 6 out there, and hey, what do we have now, Megan? 6 for
We
senior
have 4 for the
town.
town hall, is 6, almost 7 for the senior center.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we could put.
Yeah,
them
but
in.
just, I guess, to demonstrate that there's been information that has been sent out, made available in these.
Maybe we
Newsletters.
include that when we talk about where we can go for this information, as far as the town website also on there. Besides the meetings,
Yeah.
you'll have the newsletters for each project.
Yep.
For additional information.
And maybe mention too that people can sign up for the town email blast if they want to get regular updates. I'm not sure how I want it, if it's with the school covering my kids, or if I signed up for it, because now I get the selectmen updates and things like that too. So is that on the town website where people can sign up for the email blast?
I'll have to check that.
Okay. And that way, that takes kind of a lot of the effort off of these people. They can just sign up for it and get the updates that way.
Make it as easy for everybody as you can.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And we can discuss the meetings that we've had, in person, Zoom during the COVID, and we've just persevered through the whole.
Yes.
Because we were doing this in 2020,
Right.
and here we are in 2022. Does it seem like a good approach?
Yep.
For the
Yeah.
update?
Yeah.
And then when I get everything else together? Megan, I'll send this over to you, and we'll discuss some more.
And then you'll send a draft around again
That sounds
to.
great.
Yeah, and then we'll get to, the draft will come to me, I'll send it out in an email.
Perfect.
It might be a joint email to both, you know,
Sure.
depends on how it comes across.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, okay,
do you agree?
good.
Any other discussion on it? So we'll talk about our next meeting, so we are not going to meet, and I'll send this out so everybody knows. So we're not gonna meet on the 27th, it's just before the town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we will kind of change it because we're gonna meet on the 4th, correct? And the 11th was gonna be the senior center.
Right.
Right,
Because
because the 11th, we're back. The school
You
committee's
guys, the
back.
school
We're
committee are
ready.
back, so,
So 4th is town hall,
right, then it'll be the 18th.
Yeah.
And then-
11th is senior center,
Right,
and then 18th is town hall.
yep, 25th senior center, June 1st.
And these, for some reason, I have the 25th of May down as a Zoom session, but that's gonna be an in-person, isn't it, or no?
Yeah, I'm trying to do them all in person. So we're working with this OWL, which helps record. So we're streaming right now with the help of WCTV, and we're recording. The only tough thing is the presentation. If somebody wants to put it on, that it doesn't pick up very well. But if we can get it to WCTV in advance, or we can do it via Zoom, they can put it on.
So Judge, again, you had what, May 4th, May 18th? And that's the way we're gonna go, and then it would be
Yeah, for this particular committee, it'll be the 4th, the 18th, and then the 1st of June. We'll try to keep that schedule forward that way. Okay.
Yep.
And the school committee will be staying on that schedule, they're gonna be changing up on,
Right now, we're on that schedule.
Yeah.
It could be, who knows?
subject
If
to
some-
change?
If something comes up, yeah.
Okay,
Right now, those are off weeks.
all right, I'll put that out in my next email, just to keep you up to date, and they can put on their calendar.
Very good.
All right. Any other comments? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second, first.
Alderman Maroney, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's our quickest meeting ever.
That's a great.